Okay squad, welcome back. Now today's video is mainly aimed at those of you guys who download beats from online sources like YouTube. We're talking about free to use instrumentals or beats that you can use on your mixtape, and then of course you'll credit the producer or creator, and there's a lot of that going on right now. Now one of the main challenges with that is when you download a beat from any of those online sources, you're not necessarily getting the highest quality instrumental, because of course the producer is not going to upload his or her most polished production for you to release as a single. What the producer would want is for you to have a decent quality reference track to write to. Then you can go back to him or her and buy a license to use the track, or maybe go for a complete buyout. Anyway, the point of this video is to help you enhance the actual track that you downloaded so it sounds a little bit better than what's come down, and it will most certainly inspire your creativity when you're writing, and it will sound great on your mixtape as well. So the track I'm using today is from a very talented young producer called TXM, and he's kindly sent me one of his instrumentals. You can definitely check out his material right here. If you're a rapper, singer, producer or manager and you want some great instrumentals, you can check him out right here. So the track itself is called Lifestyle, and as you can see right here, it has a bitrate of 192 kbps. All right, so we're not working with a high resolution MP3 file, and that's going to be the case in many situations that you'll be facing. Okay, so what I've done here is I've imported the instrumental MP3 file into Logic Pro X, and I've created a new track calling it Original Dry. First things first, however, let's give you a little taste of the actual track. Okay, so that's the general vibe of the track. I really like this, and like I said, you make sure you check out TXM's content. Now, first thing I generally do when I import an instrumental or any song that I'm going to be lining up in Logic Pro X, I zoom right in and make sure that the first transient is actually at bar 1. So I've gone all the way in here. So I'm actually going to just move that to about here, and then I'm going to move the audio file right back to bar 1, and that should be nice and tight. Zoom back out. Now the next thing I'm going to do is analyze the tempo of the instrumental, and I've inserted already on the channel strip a BPM counter, which you can actually find down here under metering BPM counter, and just open that up. And let's play back. I'm actually going to play a section from where the beat drops in. That's averaging at 90 BPM. So we're going to change our global tempo to 90 BPM. If I was to say solo a section, like an 8-bar section like so, we should actually hit on the downbeat. There you go, that loops quite well. Okay, so that's great. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create 3 new audio tracks, and I'm going to label these up now. And all I've done is made a duplicate of the original instrumental and pasted it across all 3 of these new tracks. Okay, the first one is called Original Bust, second one Low End, and then High End. You'll see what these mean in just a minute. This top one here is just for reference. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that one as it is, but just as my reference track for later on. So I've already sent the output of this track to bus 1. I've taken it from stereo output and I've sent it to bus 1. I'm going to do the same for these two. I'm going to go to this one, go from stereo out, send it to bus 1. We're just going to group these 3 tracks together. And now all these 3 are going to output to bus 1. So if I was to play these back, of course it's overloading because you've got the same track playing multiple times. Okay, so let's just first of all look at this first track right here. Let's zoom in a touch, Control Z, and that will give you a nice zoom right there. And as you can see, just looking at the entire WAV file, this track has not been maximized. Still quite a bit of headroom there that we can play with. And you're going to find that on some of the instrumentals that you download. I could of course normalize this, but the fact that this hasn't been squashed and I've still got some headroom to play with is quite handy. So I'm going to leave this as it is, and I'm just going to mute that for now. And then I'm going to go to low end. Now the first thing you do is you open up the channel EQ. Let's install that. And I'm going to switch on the low pass filter and type in 100 right here. Okay, so I'm filtering everything above 100 Hertz. You really ought to check out my video on EQ. What is EQ? Where I break down the whole concept of what an EQ does and how to use it. And what all of these symbols mean and all of these numbers down here mean. It's a really handy tutorial for you if you're not 100% sure on that. But anyway, let's just play this back. And I'm just going to adjust this because I want to catch the low end, but some of the kick as well. Right, there we go. Cool. Right. That's great. Okay. Next thing I'm going to add is a compressor. And if you come down here to stereo compressor, in fact, go to dynamics, go to compressor, stereo compressor. Okay. Now I'm going to use for this track, I'm going to use the studio effect. Okay, great. Already you're hearing some changes there. The Logic compressor is an excellent unit. You should watch my video on the Logic compressor and the circuits that all of these different interfaces represent. These are all emulations of classic analog compressors. You can add some really interesting color to your audio by switching between these different options right here. Again, just check out the video. You'll see the link on the screen. I'm sure you'll find it useful. But for now, we're just going to go for the studio effect. And this one is an emulation of the classic 1176 analog compressor. And let's play this back. Okay, cool. I'm going to set the ratio to maybe about 12. Really want to drive this thing nicely. In fact, I'm going to just play the section where the bass line is playing. Okay. Right. I'm going to just shift the threshold so I'm not getting too much. Here we go, about there. I think the release is auto, the attack is okay. I'm just going to add a bit of soft distortion as well. Now this, by just doing this, it's going to allow the low end to pop that bit more on things like laptop speakers and your mobile phone speakers. You'll just get a few more harmonics will sort of pop out and you'll be able to hear the bass line a bit more clearly on those devices. Right, we're going to leave that there for now. And we're just going to adjust the volume down, the volume fader down. I'm just going to take out about 6 dB, so -6. Okay, drop that down. Cool. All right, so that's my low end. Now I'm going to the high end. Again, we're going to pull up an EQ. We're going to engage the high pass filter and we're going to come all the way up to about 500. Let's play that back and have a listen. Okay, I'm just going to change the slope. Yeah. Okay. I'm also going to just add a little bit of boost. I'm going to use the high shelf and just boost that up just a bit. Just add a bit of brightness. Okay, that's cool. This is before and after. Okay, that's all good. Lovely. Next thing I'm going to do is engage a spreader. So we come down to modulation and we go to spreader, stereo. And I'm just going to stick with the default, reduce the rate of sort of modulation, and can you hear that? You really need some headphones in order to hear this, but have a listen to it. Just listen for when I bypass. Switched on. Really cool. Right, I love this. I love this plugin, to be honest with you. Okay, nice and simple. And the last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a reverb. Now, again, depending on the material you're working with and sort of your taste, you may or may not want to use a reverb, but I'm going for the chroma verb. And the preset I'm going to use to kick things off is, I'm going to use a room reverb, and we're going to go for clean big room. Okay, this works quite well for this type of material. Hit the dry all the way up, bring the wet all the way down, leave everything else just the same, and playback. And we're just going to ease in some of that wet signal. Okay, just adding a bit of space into the mix. Okay, there we go. Lovely. You can hear how the thing opens up when I add that. Okay, sounding good. Right. Okay, so what we've got our low end with the two plugins there. We've got our high end with the two plugins there. All we need to do is get a nice balance between all three of these. So what I'm going to do is pull the volume fader all the way down on both of these. Okay. I'm just going to take out some volume out of this. Let's go down to about -6 dB. Yeah, so all we're listening to right now is the original bust. Let's pull up the mixer actually, X on the keyboard. And now we're going to ease in some of that low end. The levels are looking decent still. Now we're just going to ease in some of this high end. Okay, let's take this out. Okay, you can hear the difference, major difference. Okay, so you can hear a little bit of flanging there. So we're just going to go into the spreader And we're going to take down the intensity, but we're going to add some channel delay. Take down the intensity here. Definitely works better. Less flanging. I mean, the color is different, of course, but I think it works quite well. Great. Okay. And last couple of things we're going to do on the actual group bus. We're going to engage a compressor, which I've already got plugged in there. Let's open this up. And on this occasion, I'm going to use this right here. Now this is the Focusrite compressor emulation, classic Focusrite. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the default setting, and I'm just going to adjust the threshold. So in fact, let's pull that back. Let's go back to default. Recall default. Go to here. Now, the reason for this compressor is to sort of glue things together. You've got these 3 tracks all pouring into this channel right here. And I just want to squash them together so that they work well as a single audio channel. And now, I'm just going to ease the volume fader up. See how much we can get out of this before clipping. Let's go, keep going up. Yeah, about 3 dB of headroom, that's enough. Great. Now the final thing we're going to do is we're going to use a limiter to sort of maximize the overall volume. I'm going to click on this track right here so we can pull up the master stereo channel. Come over here to audio effects and audio units and a W1 limiter. Now the W1 limiter is a fantastic free tool that you can download right now. There's a link in the description for you to be able to do that. This plugin is very comparable to the Waves L1 limiter, and it works really well in Logic. So if you haven't got the Waves tools or any additional plugins outside of Logic, this one actually does a really great job. So I'm going to set my ceiling to minus 0.3 dB. I'm going to set the adaptive release on and let me play back. Bear in mind, we're only playing these 3 tracks. This one is still muted, all right? So let's go. I'm just going to ease the threshold down. Okay, bypass. I'm really liking that. Yeah, I'm feeling that. I could squash it a bit more, but that'll do nicely for now. Maybe give it a little bit more. Great. Okay, so let's have a little comparison now between the original. So let's switch off the W1, which is on the master bus. We're just going to solo this and play back. Sounds good. Cool. Okay, and now let's switch that back on and have a listen to this version. I'm quite liking that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. What we're going to do now is we are going to bounce this down as a new WAV file, a new audio file. So I'm just going to select one of my audio tracks. I'm going to press U on the keyboard so I can cycle around the whole lot, and Command B to bounce. And let's just go to PCM WAV file, 24-bit. Leave it at 44.1. I'm going to just bounce offline and OK, and that's pretty much it. I do appreciate TXM sending me this instrumental, which I've been able to use for this demonstration. Do check out his work. Links will be on the screen and in the description. And also it'd be great if you check out my material as well at ducebeats.com. I've just started releasing tracks again, and it'd be great to have your support on that. Also, you can check out my social media platforms, give me some feedback in the comments box, and like and subscribe to the channel. And just like the rest of the MTTC squad, do remember to switch on your notification bell. So until next time, I'm Dr. Duce. Peace.